and yet we're going to have kids die of that. That's a tragedy, and that's the problem with this.
We've got a question in. Stephen sending a question about measles in general. He says, I had German measles as a child. Is there a difference? And what is the difference?
Yeah, the difference, these are a different virus. So they come under similar names, which makes it a little bit confusing. German measles, so-called, has its own issues, particularly in pregnancy, which make it quite nasty. True measles is actually a much more sinister infection than so-called German measles. So measles is considered the most infective virus that we've ever seen in the human race. If somebody has it in a room, pretty well everyone in that room is going to be infected by it.
Wow.
And even 2 hours later, it gets in the air particles, like the air droplets, and it'll sit in that room 90 minutes up to 2 hours later, just hovering in the air. So it's incredibly infectious, so very, very difficult to contain if there are active cases. Now, the quote is, if you can get a population in the 95% plus range of the immunization, this will be stopped in its tracks because there's not enough people unimmunized to have it spread. But as soon as it gets below that, you have a potential for one active case could actually find another unimmunized person who gets infected, who spreads it. And the spread is like 1 in 20, they say. So if one person gets it, 20 people will be infected from that.
Wow.
Now, if 20 people are immunized, they will have mild illnesses or nothing at all. But if somebody is not, they get tagged, and they will be a vector which will spread this further and further, which is exactly what's happened in Europe.
This is Dr. Ted Jablonski, the on-call family physician for QR Calgary Mornings with Sue and Andy. Yeah, those numbers are something else. And this vaccination thing that is happening, as far as how many people want to get vaccinated or not, the pendulum has swung. I think most of us can blame COVID, what happened there. But again, vaccines are available for different infections out there, and it's up to parents to make those decisions affecting their children. And, you should know the consequences, what can or cannot happen if you do or do not get those shots. One other little health item here before we take a break. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is expanding the use of a popular weight loss drug. This one is Wegovy.
Now the agency says doctors can prescribe it to help reduce the risk of stroke, heart attacks, and other serious heart problems in patients who are overweight. A study found it helped reduce the risk by about 20% in those who don't also have diabetes. The label change was requested by drug maker Novo Nordisk, and this could help push Medicare to pay for prescriptions. Wegovy is costly, and it's in short supply. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Yep, that's all we want in the world we live in, is just give me a pill for it. If you've got a problem, give me a pill. I need to lose weight, give me a pill. But just 21 minutes after 9. We're going to take a break. On the other side, some features from our friends over at Global News, including one on apprenticeship programs for women. This is the Alberta Morning News.
Through weather changes in season, in good years and bad, you keep on going. What hasn't changed is UFA being there for you to get things done. For over 115 years, we've always had your back. For farmers, ranchers, truckers, and acreage owners, we're your dependable cooperative that makes sure, no matter where you are, on the road or on the farm, we've got you covered. Visit your nearest UFA location or UFA.com.
Tinnitus getting you down? Sounds in the ears and head can affect everything from mood to concentration, focus, sleep, and relationships. If your quality of life is being affected by tinnitus, we can help. Clinical audiologist Suzanne McLaren has close to 40 years of experience helping people like you. If tinnitus is impacting your life, schedule an appointment today. Call Calgary Ear Center, Calgary's first clinic for integrative hearing health, 403-685-0810, or visit calgaryearcenter.ca.
Budget 2024 is a responsible plan for a growing province. We're investing in 18 new and modernized schools in the Calgary area. We're improving access to healthcare with major upgrades at Peter Lougheed and Foothills hospitals. And we're investing in what Calgary needs, from the Deerfoot expansion and LRT airport connector to the Springbank Reservoir for flood mitigation and the new arena and entertainment district. Learn more at alberta.ca/budget. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Looking for a cause? Want to help in your community? Support WINS, Women in Need Society. For more than 3 decades, WINS has been committed to helping Calgarians in need through community programs that provide basic needs, emotional support, and vital resources. You can help support these programs by shopping at WINS stores, volunteering your time, or through a generous donation. To learn more about WINS, visit winsyyc.ca. Together, everyone wins.
I'm here to tell you, honey.
The only place for weekend talk. Talk on FM. The Alberta Morning News with Kevin Usselman, QR Calgary.
23 minutes after 9. Earlier this half hour, we heard about the shifting labor market in Alberta. Big study by the Business Council of Alberta was put out. Well, opportunities for Alberta women in trades are growing, with employers and advocates working to make workplaces safer and more inclusive for all. Some women, though, say the road to these careers has not been easy. As we hear from Jacqueline Cousy, some women in trades hope to spark change for the next generation.
For decades, Martina Melnick dreamt of a career in trades.
We were always put into home ec instead of the industrial education where I always wanted to be.
Despite her experience in hands-on work on a farm, that rejection led her to other careers, but she persisted.
I had probably sent out at least 30 resumes trying to just break into that, have somebody hire me as an apprentice, and I didn't even get a call back or an interview or anything.
Now in her 40s, Melnick is finally breaking through the gender barrier on her way to a journeyperson certification. But like many, it's not without facing stereotypes and harassment.
I've been turned away because I was a young girl. And they're like, yeah, no, we don't hire girls here. Yeah, no, we're not interested in you.
Nat Back started her trades career in 2008. She's now a journeyperson welder and a second-year pipe fitter.
We all get tired of the comments at times, but at the same time, I refuse to throw in that towel because I'm like, well, I get to make a change for the next generation.
That change comes slowly. For the last decade, women made up about 4 to 5% of everyone working in the trades. Recently, those numbers have increased up to about 7%.
Let's utilize that workforce to help combat our labor shortages that we're facing.
On Friday, Emma Pollard, part of the new Office to Advance Women Apprentices in Alberta, set up grade 9 students to try their hand at building. Lily Neufeld is one of only 2 of the 15 girls in her class who participated.
This kind of industry is more like men and just like focused, and there needs to be a lot more women, I'd say.
Carol Moen is pushing that idea with Women Building Futures, but it's about more than attracting women to the job.
In order to have a resilient career and in order to achieve economic security, women have to want to stay in those careers. So there's a lot more work to do.
Jacqueline Cousy, Global News.
All right, now I have time to squeeze in one more thing. This is more positive economic news. Tech giant Fortinet has selected Calgary for a new state-of-the-art data center. The digital security company promises 85 permanent jobs and a training center for that growing sector. Doug Vason has more.
Fortinet is a U.S.-based world leader in cybernet security. Its $30 million investment will add 85 full-time jobs, its own cyber tech training program in the downtown, and further enhance Calgary's growing reputation as a high-tech hub in Canada.
Our new center in Calgary will serve as a hub for deploying cutting-edge cybersecurity capabilities across Canada and globally, leveraging green technologies. Fortinet's mission is to secure people, devices, and data everywhere.
Fortinet has existing connections with SAIT and NAIT to better build talent in a growing sector.
We're on a full court press right now to try and encourage bright, young, technology-minded individuals to get into the field of cybersecurity because you know what? It's an outstanding career choice.
I'm honored to work with these students, professionals, industry partners as I get to see every day the passion that they have to drive positive change through innovation.
It was a team effort. Calgary Economic is helping secure the real estate. The province is pitching in $3 million from its investment growth fund. Invest Alberta says nearly every province in Canada was vying for Fortinet's attention.
We're really proud of the fact that we were able to win this challenging project and move forward as a group and continue to build the ecosystem here in Calgary and the rest of Alberta. Technology is part of our DNA. It always has been, always will be.
The initiative is not only another milestone for Fortinet in Canada, but a testament to Alberta's commitment to fostering innovation and excellence in the field of cybersecurity in Canada and beyond.
The company says it plans on opening its new state-of-the-art data center by the end of 2025. Doug Vason, Global News.
All right, I got to get out of here, unfortunately. Don't forget, if you want to put a smile on your face, just do something nice for somebody else. Up next is Calgary Next, and then your province Premier, Daniel Smith, will be here answering your questions via the phone line or the text line between 10 and 11 a.m. Have a terrific day. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Don't forget to set your clocks ahead 1 hour before you go to bed tonight. This has been another edition of the Alberta Morning News.
Why is having an estate or life plan important? It's protection of assets, maximization of wealth, and minimization of taxes, says Macmillan Estate Planning President Sherry McMillan.
How we approach estate planning is how do we design for the decades ahead you have in retirement or in transition of your business or transferring the farm to the active children in the business. And in that case, how do you have protection through your retirement in doing that? And then when we do the wealth transfer one day to your family, loved ones, charities, that we're doing it in a manner that has been thought through and your wishes are being met. There's not going to be challenges in the estate, and it's also going to mitigate a lot of the income tax because we've planned proactively.
Safeguard your future. RSVP for Macmillan Estate Planning's complimentary virtual seminar on Thursday, March 21st by calling 1-833-266-6464 or visit macmillanestate.com.
The government website says I'm not owed a severance package.
Relying on the government for severance pay advice? You need employmentlawyer.ca. Answer a few simple questions, and in seconds, you'll receive free answers for your workplace issues. Go to employmentlawyer.ca. Find out why the Ministry of Labor is wrong and calculate how much you are really owed. Always check with the employment lawyer, Lior Samfiru, first at employmentlawyer.ca.
It's free advice from the people who know best. Join us for Talk to the Experts, Saturdays on QR Calgary. This Saturday at 11, join Derek Mikowski, the head of the family from Furnace Family. He'll discuss how to get the most comfortable and energy-efficient comfort system available for your home. Plus, the steps their team takes to continue to serve you and your home safely. It all starts at furnacefamily.com and continues this Saturday on Talk to the Experts, here on QR Calgary.
This is Global News. I'm Madeline DeBellis. It's cloudy and +1 at 9:30. BC Premier David Eby says he wants to reassure Alberta Premier Danielle Smith that a recent RCMP seizure in Prince George of what actually appeared to be prescription drugs are not from the government's Safe Supply program. Smith said in a statement that Alberta has been warning for years that the diversion of high-potency opioids from BC's program could be diverted and trafficked across Canada. Eby says the vast majority of the drugs seized aren't part of BC's program to prevent overdose deaths.
We're also aware that there is the serious issue of counterfeit hydromorphone pills made from fentanyl on the streets. And if police have information about diverted prescribed alternatives, that they are sure to share that information with public health authorities.
Eby says medical professionals who administer Safe Supply to drug users do everything possible to minimize the risk of diversion. A review that surveyed more than 1,600 RCMP personnel involved in the response to the Freedom Convoy protests in early 2022 found there was a lack of proper equipment, inadequate training, and poor intelligence coordination. It says Mounties worked exceptionally long days that prompted some to sleep in their offices. The protests paralyzed downtown Ottawa for weeks and jammed key border points, including at Coutts, Alberta, where police uncovered weapons and an alleged conspiracy to murder RCMP officers. The after-action report says the survey found that some personnel at Coutts were not aware of the threats to police officers until after the blockade ended. 1 month after a widely reported cougar attack in Banff National Park, Parks Canada is saying the attack never happened. A 30-year-old man claimed he was attacked by a cougar along the Rockbound Lake trailhead near Castle Mountain on February 12th. Parks Canada says it undertook forensic testing to corroborate the initial claim. But in a statement, the agency says there's no evidence of cougar activity in the area at the time. Parks Canada says its investigation is now closed and an area closure for the Rockbound Lake area has been lifted.
Does anybody really know what time it is?
Most Canadians are getting ready to wind their clocks ahead an hour this weekend. And while proponents of daylight savings time say it gives people more sunlight, one psychology professor at the University of Calgary says it's more than just an hour of lost sleep. Michael Antle says this time change impacts people for a longer period of time because it forces them to wake up before their body's ready. Studies have shown increased car and work accidents as well as more incidents of heart attacks and strokes. A reminder, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith will be answering your questions and calls this morning on QR Calgary. Today's edition of Your Province, Your Premier kicks off at 10 a.m. until 11. Stay tuned right here to catch that live. Warming up to a high of +9 today, mix of sun and cloud, a few clouds tonight with a low of -1. Mainly sunny and 9 tomorrow, sunny and 8 on Monday, mix of sun and cloud and 9 on Tuesday. It is +1. Breaking news when it happens. Our next scheduled news at 10 o'clock. I'm Madeline DeBellis.
Cossins Windows and Doors, serving Calgary and Southern Alberta for nearly 50 years. COSSINS. Visit CossinsWindowsandDoors.com.
Calgary Next is powered by Calgary Economic Development. Calgary is the place where bright minds and big ideas come together with an unmatched spirit to help solve global challenges.
In 2021, Paul Constance was inspired by one of his 3 children, Ella, to open a different kind of cafe. Located in the Ampersand building in downtown Calgary and now in downtown Toronto, Lil E Coffee Cafe is a nonprofit that provides employment to people with intellectual and development disabilities and teaches life skills. If you've ever been there, you'll know it's busy and full of smiling employees who love their jobs, and also a lot of smiling clients, because I've been there many times. Paul is also the president of Lloyd's Sad Insurance Brokerage, and we talked about it, how sad insurance is becoming today before the show, but we won't bother you with that. And the past president and board member of Entrepreneurs Organizations. He's here with us this morning to share with us about the life as an entrepreneur and the Lil E Coffee Cafe. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Tara.
Hello.
Tara, you don't like coffee too much, right?
I do. One a day.
One a day?
One a day.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
And then it's all water and tea.
Yep, that's exactly right. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'm a little too jumpy.
Yeah.
This girl needs to sleep at night, so, you know.
If you're a client, they will go out of business, but I support I support the coffee industry.
He
Need more
drinks
Davids.
all day
Need
long.
more Davids.
I don't know how he does it, but he can drink coffee all day till the evening.
Well, I wake up at 4:45
Yeah, you
a.m.
need something after boxing all night. All right, Paul. Let's talk about Paul, shall we? David mentioned that your daughter Ella was the inspiration behind Lily.
Yeah.
So why was it important to you to open up this coffee cafe?
That's a good question. I think I'd go back to just formal beliefs and values, right? Like something that's always instilled as a kid is your social impact, or your social footprint is the impact that your life has on others. So it's always something that's always been registered with me is how can you make the world different? Are you making a difference? And then when we had Ella, just excitement and just her pure bundle of joy. And then you start thinking about what's the future for my child. And it was actually by accident I got introduced to this concept. And then I text somebody we both know, Greg Guado at the Aspen, and told him about this coffee store in the U.S., and he said, well, don't tell anybody I'm buying the Sun Life Towers. Let's do something like that. And that's actually how this all got started. So I think the message there is just be careful who you text at 12 at night. You never know what might come out of it, right?
When two brilliant minds collide, right?
So that was 3 years ago. And I think from there, I just started doing the research, talking to families and starting to find out, because my daughter's quite young, not at that age. And then what I did find out is a lot of these individuals are eager and willing to work. Some of them 10 or 15 years been looking for a job and never had an opportunity. And then when we looked at the stats, 3/4 3/4 of them are unemployed. So there's 3 million in Canada in the workforce with disabilities. The individuals with development and intellectual disabilities, that's actually over 75% of them are unemployed. And usually it's just, they just haven't been given the opportunity. Someone hasn't seen that greatness. And that's really where this morphed. And then it took a whole new life of its own of how can we have a larger impact. And then we came up with our BHAG of not just being a coffee store, but a career platform and to build 10,000 careers. It's our BHAG. So we have, I think, 9,996 to go. Who's counting?
I just saw a post this morning actually on the Lily Instagram, and one of your employees was celebrating because she had just gotten a job. And it was just, what a wonderful post. So maybe talk about that career progression that you're talking about, because we just saw it, in real time on Instagram.
Yeah. No, that's the whole process. So basically how we built it out is they work for 1 year at Little E. It doesn't mean that they stop in 1 year, but basically we look to work with them for a year to build their employment skills and the life skills. A lot of them have never worked before, so just building that up. And what we found kind of by accident is coffee stores, just, David, it's a perfect environment from your business guy. You're dealing with people, you're dealing with math, you're dealing with POS systems, you're dealing with machineries, you're dealing in the back making our custom energy balls. So when you really think of a coffee store, it really enables an individual to get exposures to all different facets that are important in life or relationships and in business. And from there, whether you go accounting or computers or wherever, it was just really good environment for people that have never worked to build up a multitude of their skills and see what they excel at. And then from there, we work with our corporate Big E. So those are corporations that have partnered with us looking to hire our employees. And that's just something we're in early stages of building out. So we've signed up with some major organizations, and we're really quite excited about that. So
our guest this morning is Paul Constance, founder and president of Lil E Coffee Cafe. Paul, I have to share with you that my mom, she was a social worker, and she worked with people with disabilities. And what I've noticed as a young kid and then as a teenager when I joined her in some of the meetings, when we were out of school, is that some of the families are reluctant to let their kids go out and experience that work. When you came with the idea, what was the family's reaction, response? How did you get, because I'm sure that you hit some walls with some families. So how did you get that?
It's funny, David, because I had the same thought, and that was my concern. So when I was flying home and from Washington designing this coffee store, I was like, well, do these individuals even need a job? And then my brother his daughter has disabilities. I was like, how does this all work with government funding and all that jazz? So I was concerned. I met with these families, like, do you want them to work or can they work? And I had the same misconception that they didn't, and actually it's completely reverse. And when we went out and started getting the concept, we had the dean from the prep school, the Down syndrome school, and he said, Paul, you know what? You'll have to learn how to say no politely, because you don't have too many people who want to work at Little E. And it turned out that's the reality, is there's just so many of these individuals. And even when we interviewed him, one individual asked, Eric, why do you want this job? And he's like, can I be serious? I'm like, at that point, I was going to hire him anyways. And he's like, I just want to get out of the house. I play video games for 60 hours. Like, I'm just looking for an opportunity to do something. And I think that's been the most rewarding part, Tara and David, is just see the excitement on these individuals when they get the job. And it doesn't go away, because they've been working there for 3 years. And I'll still, in the mornings, go there and I'll have Darby and say, Paul, this is the best job ever. I'm so happy, Rhiannon. And I think that's where you get the reward back, is when you see these individuals so thrilled to have a job and have an opportunity to show what they could do and have an impact on the community. And Calgary has been awesome at just absorbing it. But it's a game changer. It's amazing, David. You've been there, so.
I've been there many times, yeah.
It's awesome.
So obviously very successful. You've also launched a Little E in Toronto. Are you looking at expanding in Calgary as well, having more than one?
Yeah, we're trying to take baby steps, trying not to get too far ahead. Like Toronto, I think we jumped a little too fast, but our goal would be to have a Little E in every major city. We think that would be awesome. And when we first started doing some strategic sessions, planning out what Little E means, what's it going to look like, that's kind of my vision. Someone would see what I did, and then they say, hey, my daughter Jill in Vancouver, I want to do one, Paul. We'd share our model and be Little J. We've kind of went away from that. We're just not have Little E. It's just taken off so much. And we started Toronto location. We're working with the Joey Moss Foundation up in Edmonton, maybe do one in Edmonton, which would be really neat to do something for Joey Moss and that whole foundation. But to have one in every major city would definitely be a goal of ours. So
I think it's the first coffee